The distress signal. The message arrived at Earth Central Command at 3:47 hours, weak and fragmented. Captain Maya Chen stood before the holographic display as technicians worked to clean up the signal. After several tense minutes, the image of a being materialized. Translucent skin pulsing with inner light, elongated limbs, and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. "This is Luminar of the Solari Confederation." The alien's voice was melodic yet strained. "Our star systems are under attack by the Void Dominion. We have no weapons, no defenses. Our civilization faces extinction. We call upon the species known as humans, the adaptable ones, the survivors of the harsh world. We have studied your history. You understand war in ways we cannot. Please, help us." The message ended with coordinates and data packets about the attackers. The command center fell silent. Admiral Hernandez, steel gray hair framing a face weathered by decades of service, turned to Captain Chen. "Their system is 3 weeks away at maximum jump. Intelligence suggests the Void Dominion has over 300 warships. We can spare 50, maybe 60. Why us?" Captain Chen asked, studying the Solari's delicate features on the screen. "The Arcturus Alliance is closer. The Regellian Empire has twice our fleet strength. Because we're from Earth," Hernandez said simply. "Earth. Class 12 Deathworld. A planet that should have produced nothing but aggressive, short-lived creatures. Instead, it had produced humans, beings who survived in environments that would kill most sentient species in the galaxy. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, deadly microorganisms, natural disasters, and predators that would give nightmares to most spacefaring races. The Solari are from a Class 2 world," the xenobiologist explained. "No natural predators. Minimal environmental pressures. They evolved in harmony with their environment and developed technology through theoretical exploration rather than necessity." "And the Void Dominion?" Chen asked. "Class 8, highly aggressive, hierarchical. They believe resources belong to the strongest." Captain Chen studied the tactical display. 50 ships against 300. "Those aren't good odds, Admiral." Hernandez's weathered face creased into something between a smile and a grimace. "When have humans ever needed good odds, Captain? We've been outgunned, outmanned, and outmatched throughout our entire history. Yet here we stand." 3 days later, Captain Maya Chen stood on the bridge of the ES at Intrepid, Earth's newest battle cruiser. Around her, the bridge crew ran final systems checks. Through the view screen, 49 other vessels of various classes prepared for the jump to the Solari system. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patil approached with a datapad. "Final crew manifests, Captain. All volunteers." Chen nodded. That had surprised her. When the call went out, they expected to draft crews. Instead, so many volunteered they had to turn people away. Weapons status: nuclear warheads, kinetic impact munitions, and gravitic mines all loaded. Particle beam arrays at full capacity. Messier system installations complete on all ships. Impressive for 3 days' work. "That's humans for you, Captain. Tell us something's impossible, and we'll have it done by dinner." Chen allowed herself a small smile. Humanity's greatest strength had always been adaptability. While other species specialized and excelled in their evolutionary niches, humans had become the ultimate generalists, capable of surviving almost anywhere, learning almost anything. The communication officer turned. "Captain, Admiral Hernandez is on the line." The Admiral's face appeared on the screen. "Captain Chen, you understand the mission parameters?" "Yes, sir. Proceed to the Solari system, evacuate as many civilians as possible, and hold off the Void Dominion until reinforcements arrive." "That's the official mission," Hernandez said with a knowing look. "Your actual mission is to save the Solari civilization by any means necessary. You have full tactical authority." Chen understood what remained unsaid. This was not a suicide mission, but it was close. "Understood, Admiral. We won't let them down." "Good hunting, Captain." Earth stands with you." The transmission ended. Chen turned to her crew. "All stations, prepare for jump sequence. Tactical, plot 5 random jumps before our final destination. Let's not make it easy for anyone to follow us." "Jump calculations complete," the navigation officer announced. "All ships report ready, Captain." Chen took a deep breath. 50 ships carrying 20,000 of Earth's finest, heading into a battle against overwhelming odds to save a species they'd never met. It sounded like the plot of one of those old science fiction shows her grandfather used to watch. Execute jump sequence. The stars stretched into lines, and the Earth fleet vanished into the darkness between worlds. The Solari home system was beautiful, 3 planets orbiting a gentle yellow star, with glittering rings of settlements and research stations. But the fleet sensors immediately detected the approach of the Void Dominion fleet from the system's edge. "They'll be here in 72 hours, Lieutenant Commander Patel reported. Chen ordered the fleet to the coordinates provided in the distress signal. They approached a massive space station that looked more like an art installation than a functional structure. Graceful spires of crystalline material that caught and refracted starlight in prismatic patterns. "It's beautiful," whispered the communications officer. "And completely defenseless," Chen added. "No weapon systems, minimal shielding. Hail them." Moments later, 3 Solari appeared on the view screen. They were even more ethereal in a clear transmission. Nearly 7 feet tall but seemingly weightless, their translucent skin pulsing with inner light patterns that seemed to communicate emotions. "Captain Chen of Earth Fleet," Chen said, standing straighter. "We received your distress call." The central Solari bowed, light patterns rippling across its skin in what the translation software identified as gratitude. "I am High Counselor Ilara. This is Defense Coordinator Zephyr and Science Director Vesta. We feared our message would not reach you in time. We came as quickly as we could. My fleet is at your disposal, but I need to understand what we're facing." The defense coordinator stepped forward. Unlike the other Solari, Zephyr's light patterns were sharper, more focused. "The Void Dominion discovered our civilization 6 lunar cycles ago. At first, they demanded resources, which we provided. Then they demanded worlds. When we explained our biologies were incompatible with cohabitation, they began systematic attacks on our outer settlements." Science Director Vesta's light pulsed in patterns the translator identified as sorrow. "They have destroyed 17 research outposts and 3 colony worlds. 3 billion lives gone." Chen felt a chill. "Your people have no defenses. We have shields against radiation and micrometeorites," Zephyr explained. "But nothing that would stop weapons. In our 18,000 years of space exploration, we never encountered a species that could not be reasoned with. Until now," Chen finished grimly. "How many of your people remain?" "Approximately 22 billion across our 3 homeworlds and orbital habitats," Ilara answered. Chen exchanged glances with Patel. 22 billion civilians with no defenses, and 50 Earth ships against a fleet of 300. The math was brutal. "We'll need to coordinate an evacuation of critical personnel immediately," Chen said. "And I need to know everything about the Void Dominion ships, their weapons, tactics, vulnerabilities." "We have limited information," Zephyr admitted. "Their vessels are biomechanical, with outer hulls that regenerate damage." "Show me what you have." The display changed to show recordings of the Void Dominion attacks. Their ships were massive, asymmetrical constructs that reminded Chen of deep-sea predators. All angles and protrusions with no clear bridge or command center. They moved with unnatural precision, like parts of a single organism rather than individual vessels. "They communicate through some form of quantum entanglement," Vesta explained. "We cannot intercept or disrupt their communications." Chen studied the footage, noting how the enemy ships formed attack patterns. "They're connected, but they still think like predators, and every predator has blind spots." She turned to the Solari leaders. "I need your people's help. You understand this region of space better than we do. We'll need detailed maps of the system, asteroid fields, radiation belts, stellar phenomena, anything we can use. For what purpose? Ilara asked. Kin's lips curved into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Because humans don't fight fair when the stakes are this high. We're going to show the Void Dominion what happens when you corner an apex predator from a death world. For the first time, the Solari's light patterns showed understanding, and perhaps a flicker of hope. The Light Keepers. The next 48 hours were a blur of activity. The Earth fleet positioned itself throughout the Solari system, hiding within asteroid fields, behind moons, and in the shadow of radiation belts. Engineer teams worked with Solari scientists to modify their civilian vessels, not to make them warships, but to make them decoys and support craft. In the Intrepid's war room, Captain Chen studied the tactical display with her officers and Zephyr, the Solari defense coordinator. The Void Dominion fleet has entered the system, Lieutenant Santos reported. 322 vessels, maintaining tight formation as they approach the inner planets. They're confident. Commander Rodriguez, the tactical officer, observed. No scouts, no screen. They're not expecting resistance. Their overconfidence is our advantage, Chen said. Status of Operation Lighthouse. All packages deployed, Captain Patel confirmed. Solar reflector arrays are in position around the system's fifth planet. Solari engineers have the focusing controls ready. Chen nodded. And the Hammerfall units. Positioned in the asteroid belt. Magnetic accelerators are charged and ready. Zephyr's skin pulsed with uncertainty. Captain, I still do not understand how 50 ships can defeat over 300. Chen smiled. Because we're not just 50 ships. We're 50 ships crewed by humans who evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to use our environment as a weapon. She pointed to the display. And your beautiful system is now one giant trap. The Void Dominion fleet moved steadily inward. Their massive black ships formed a wedge formation as they approached the Solari homeworld. All ships, execute Sunstorm Protocol, Chen ordered. Throughout the system, hidden reflector arrays pivoted, catching and focusing the star's light toward the trailing elements of the Dominion fleet. Simultaneously, Earth vessels launched specialized probes into the star's corona. Solar flare approaching optimal magnitude, Science Officer Chang reported. Probes are in position. Execute, Chen ordered. The probes detonated, catalyzing a carefully calculated solar flare. The massive wave of stellar radiation surged outward, directly into the path of the reflector arrays, which amplified and focused it into a coherent beam of devastating energy. The rear third of the Void Dominion fleet was suddenly bathed in solar fire. Their shields strained and failed against an attack they had never anticipated. Not weapons fire, but the harnessed power of a star itself. 47 enemy vessels disabled, Santos reported with barely contained excitement. 32 destroyed outright. The remaining Dominion ships broke formation, scattering to evade the solar attack. Exactly as Chen had planned. Execute Hammerfall, she ordered. In the asteroid belt, hidden magnetic accelerators activated, launching hundreds of asteroids that had been maneuvered into position over the past 2 days. The massive rocks, some the size of small moons, hurtled toward the scattered Dominion fleet at tremendous speeds. The result was chaos. The Dominion ships, trying to regroup after the solar attack, found themselves in a lethal field of hypervelocity projectiles. Their point defense systems, designed to counter energy weapons and missiles, were ill-equipped to stop celestial bodies moving at a significant fraction of light speed. Enemy fleet disrupted, Rodriguez reported. They're breaking into defensive clusters. All Earth vessels, execute attack pattern Echo, Chen ordered. Target isolated ships first. The Earth fleet emerged from hiding, striking at the confused and scattered enemy vessels. Human warships darted between asteroids, using the continuing meteor shower as cover for their attacks. The Intrepid led a squadron against a cluster of 5 Dominion ships, its particle beams slicing through the biomechanical hulls. But the Dominion fleet was still formidable. As they recovered from the initial shock, They began to coordinate their response. Energy weapons lashed out, catching 3 Earth vessels and vaporizing them instantly. "We've lost the Dauntless, Shenzhen, and Kilimanjaro," Paddle reported grimly. "The Dominion ships are adapting to our tactics." Chen had expected this. "Execute Phase 3. All ships converge on the gas giant's upper atmosphere." The Earth fleet disengage, racing toward the system's massive gas giant. The Dominion fleet, enraged by the unexpected resistance, pursued. "They're following," Santos confirmed. "All of them." "Good," Chen said, her voice cold. "Solari control. Initiate atmospheric ignition on my mark." The Earth ships skimmed the upper layers of the gas giant's hydrogen-rich atmosphere, their shields straining against the pressure and friction. Behind them, the Dominion fleet followed, intent on revenge. "Now," Chen ordered. The Solari, hidden on moons throughout the system, activated massive electromagnetic arrays. The gas giant's atmosphere, seeded with reactive compounds by the Earth fleet over the past days, ignited. A ring of fire expanded outward, engulfing the pursuing Dominion ships. On the Intrepid's bridge, the crew watched as the atmosphere burned, the light so intense that the view screens had to dim to protect their eyes. "Status," Chen demanded once the initial flare subsided. 142 enemy vessels caught in the atmospheric ignition, Santos reported. "Scanning for survivors." The remaining Dominion ships, less than half their original number, regrouped. But instead of continuing the attack, they formed a defensive formation. "They're retreating," Rodriguez said in disbelief. "The Dominion fleet is withdrawing from the system." A cheer erupted across the bridge. Chen allowed herself a moment of relief, but she knew the cost had been high. Of her original 50 ships, only 34 remained. Nearly 6,000 humans had given their lives in defense of a species they had only just met. "All ships, stand down to condition yellow," she ordered. "Maintain sensor suites. This could be a tactical withdrawal." 6 hours later, long-range scans confirmed that the Dominion fleet had indeed left the system, jumping to light speed toward their own territory. In the Solari High Council chamber, Captain Chen stood before the assembled leaders. The room glowed with the inner light of hundreds of Solari, their luminescence pulsing in patterns of awe and gratitude. High Counselor Ilara approached, her light-forming patterns more complex than the translation software could interpret. "Captain Chen, the Solari civilization owes you and humanity a debt we can never repay. You have saved not just our lives, but our entire history, our art, our science, everything we are." Chen looked around at the chamber, at the beautiful, fragile beings who had never known violence or war until the Dominion came. "We did what anyone would do." Zephyr stepped forward. "No, Captain. No one else answered our call. No one else would have faced such odds for a species they had never met." "The Void Dominion will return," Chen said. "If not here, then elsewhere. They'll learn from this defeat, and we will learn from your victory," Zephyr replied, surprising her. "The Solari Council has voted unanimously to establish a defense force with Earth's guidance. We cannot change our nature. We are not warriors. But we can learn to protect what we love." Chen nodded. "Earth will stand with you, and when the Dominion returns, they'll find not just humans waiting for them, but a prepared Solari civilization." As she prepared to return to her ship, Science Director Vesta approached with a small crystalline object. "We have sent a message to all spacefaring civilizations in our database," Vesta said. "We told them what you did here, how you faced impossible odds to protect a species you had never met." "That wasn't necessary," Chen said. "It was," Vesta insisted. "For too long, many advanced species have viewed humans with fear because of your Deathworld origins. They saw only your capacity for violence, not understanding that the same evolutionary pressures that made you fierce also made you protective." The crystal in Vesta's hands began to glow, projecting a 3-dimensional image of the Earth fleet standing against the Dominion Armada. Around it, in the script of a dozen different alien languages, were words that translated to, "When stars fall silent, Earth answers." "This will be displayed in every Solari settlement," Vesta said, "so that none forget what humans truly are. Not just survivors of a harsh world, but protectors of those who cannot protect themselves." As Captain Chen returned to the Intrepid, messages were already arriving from other systems, some offering condolences for their losses, others proposing alliances, and many simply expressing amazement that humans had done what no other species would have attempted. On the bridge, Lieutenant Commander Patel handed her a datapad with the latest communication from Earth Command. "Reinforcements are on the way, Captain," he said. "And not just from Earth. 3 other civilizations have pledged ships to help defend the Solari system." Chen nodded, looking out at the stars. Humanity had always been defined by its ability to endure, to survive against all odds. But perhaps their true purpose in the galaxy was something more: to stand between the darkness and the light, to protect those who had never needed to learn the harsh lessons of a death world. "Set course for the outer system," she ordered. "We'll establish a defensive perimeter while we wait for reinforcements." The Intrepid's engines hummed to life, carrying its human crew deeper into the vastness of space, Deathworlders who had become light keepers for a gentler civilization.